Appreciate you joining us today for KRON4 News at 5. I'm Grant Lotus.
And I'm Vicki Liviakis. A verdict was announced today in the murder case against Nima Momeni for killing Cash App co-founder Bob Lee. 6 men and 6 women found him guilty of second-degree murder. It's
a middle ground, you could say, between the two verdicts that the prosecution and the defense were hoping for. We have team coverage tonight. KRON4's Catherine Heenan and Leslie Gooden are gathering reaction after that long-awaited verdict. But first, we go to our Rob Nesbitt, who has more on today's news. Good evening, Rob.
Grant and Vicki, a decision has finally been made. Nima Momeni has been found guilty of second-degree murder in connection to the killing of Cash App founder Bob Lee after 7 weeks of a trial and 7 days of jury deliberations. The 12 jurors in the case against Nima Momeni announced their verdict Tuesday morning, finding Momeni guilty of second-degree murder. Defense attorney Tony Brass described how his client took the verdict.
Obviously, anyone in his position is going to feel very disappointed. This is a very painful day, and this is not the end of the story.
Momeni stabbed Cash App founder Bob Lee to death during the early morning hours of April 4th, 2023. The prosecution argued that Momeni killed Lee because he blamed him for a sexual assault of his sister, Hazar. District Attorney Brooke Jenkins was hoping for first-degree murder, consoling Lee's daughter after the verdict was read.
We are satisfied with that verdict. Of course, we presented evidence that we thought substantiated a first-degree murder conviction, but at the end of the day, the jury has weighed in with their verdict, and we respect what that is, and we do understand, based on the facts, how they might get there.
The defense spent their time in court arguing for self-defense, claiming Lee was the one who pulled the knife on Momeni, and Momeni had to turn it on Lee to save himself, a claim the jury did not side with after their 7 days of deliberations, but the defense plans on filing an appeal.
And within this battle, there was a lot of decisions made. Some of them we don't think are right, and that's why we have an appellate court. We're going to analyze this when we have time to calmly go through what the legal issues were, and if there were decisions that were made and evidence that was presented that should not have been, we're going to take that up.
Momeni's verdict comes with a possible sentencing of 16 years to life in prison. DA Jenkins says her team is ready to continue to take on the case and fight on behalf of Lee's family.
Any defense lawyer worth their salt is going to file an appeal of any conviction, and so we are prepared to respond to that. We have a very strong writs and appeals unit in my office who I have great confidence will do everything that we need to sustain this conviction.
Now that a verdict has been reached, Momeni's next court date is scheduled for January 10th. That time will be dedicated to scheduling a later date for sentencing. Reporting live in San Francisco, I'm Rob Nesbitt, KRON4 News.
Thank you, Rob. And with today's announcement, Bob Lee's ex-wife and the mother of his children, Krista Lee, said despite this guilty verdict, they're not done fighting.
Yeah, Lee says that the family's next move will be to file a civil suit against the family of the man found guilty of murdering her ex-husband.
Do you think this was justice?
For the most part, yes. But I would also like to see his sister and mother join him in orange jumpsuits.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, they're guilty. They deserve to go. I'm sorry, guys, I have to get upstairs.
Krista Lee went on to say that she had information that never made it into the courtroom that proves they are guilty. Krista believes Momeni's family members should also be held accountable for allegedly taking steps to try and cover up Momeni's actions. Evidence during the trial revealed that Momeni granted his sister and mother the power of attorney just a few days after the stabbing to sell his BMW, the same car that he fled the scene in.
Today, we also heard from Bob Lee's brother, and for the first time, the mother of Nima Momeni.
All right, let's go to KRON4's Leslie Gooden, who was inside the courtroom when the verdict was read.
When we got in court today, you could hear a pin drop as we waited to hear that verdict be read to the court. And I looked at the jurors' face as they heard this verdict of not guilty for first degree, but guilty for second degree murder. Very mixed emotions. Some looked pleased, others looked distressed. The families on both sides were very stoic going in, but when they heard the guilty verdict, Lee's family took a deep sigh of relief, and Momeni's mom in particular remained very calm and stoic, and we couldn't see Momeni's face. He was being comforted by one of his lawyers that was in the courtroom. I'm told that between his mom and him, they exchanged kind of like a heart sign to each other. We did have the opportunity to speak to both families. They both say that this case is not over.
Our family tries to start healing from here. And so what's What's happened over the last 18 months is this has been an open wound with our family. This marks a point where we know that Nima Momeni now is being held accountable for his actions, and so now we can start healing.
When you first heard not guilty and then hearing guilty?
Well, I was just waiting. I have to wait to see what comes after. I always tell my kids, just stay strong and listen and think what is the next.
We did try to talk to members of the jury. They declined to talk to us.
Leslie Gooden reporting for us there. Lee's death certainly caused a firestorm of national headlines regarding the state of public safety in San Francisco. And today, District Attorney Jenkins took aim at Elon Musk, indicating the verdict proves the city's commitment to accountability and safety.
Elon Musk took to Twitter to make an effort to really shame San Francisco and to make it seem like this was about lawlessness in San Francisco and about what's going on out in our streets. And we knew it was something different. And I think today proved once again that we are a city committed to accountability, we are a city committed to public safety, and that when something bad happens, which we can't always control, that law enforcement at every level will respond to make sure that there is justice and accountability in each and every situation.
Meantime, attorneys and legal analysts are among the people who were watching the Momeni trial very closely. KRON4's Catherine Heenan is in the newsroom with more for us. Catherine?
Well, our legal analyst, Michael Cardoza, is one of the people who says he's not at all surprised by the fact the San Francisco jury found Momeni guilty of second-degree murder and says, in fact, he would have been surprised if it had been anything less. Cardoza says all the circumstantial evidence pointed to guilt. In his opinion, any chance the defense had of getting a friendlier verdict went out the window the moment Momeni began to testify.
Momeni did himself no favors by the way he acted on the stand. The defense had to put him on. Watch him in the videos, how he swaggers. He appears to be cocky. And that's exactly what he did on the stand. When he was being crossed by the DA, he was hostile towards him. He asked the DA questions, which he's not supposed to do. The defense, or the jury rather, took all that into consideration. And I can almost guarantee you that what they thought is, if this is how he's acting on the stand, what must he be like in the street? Because on the stand, it's in a controlled situation. On the street, nobody's fettering you or controlling you.
As for the self-defense theory the defense tried to sell, Cardoza says he absolutely understands why the jury was not buying it.
His DNA on the knife handle, he throws the knife away. He doesn't call the police immediately or call for an ambulance because he got in a fight and he said, hey, it was self-defense, but yet he takes off. Then he gets rid of the car. He never calls the police knowing they're investigating. All that to the jury meant you did this, because if it wasn't self-defense, if it was, why didn't you stay? Why didn't you call for an ambulance to help your friend?
As we've heard, Bob Lee's ex-wife is threatening a civil lawsuit against members of Momeni's family, claiming they took steps to try to cover up Momeni's actions. Cardoza says that indicates a lot of emotion, and he understands that, but he does not think efforts to file a civil lawsuit would go anywhere. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Catherine. And for the latest on today's verdict, head to our website at KRON4.com. You can scan the QR code on your screen to go straight there, and that's where you'll find family reaction and the latest updates.
Still ahead on the news at 5, an exclusive sit-down with ousted Oakland Mayor Sheng Thao. We take a look back at her tenure.
Plus, yet another flight diverted back here to the Bay. What went wrong in the skies this time?
First, though, Oakland City Council has been meeting to discuss their multi-million-dollar budget deficit. We have a look at what's on the chopping block.